Hi, it's Jonathan, and welcome to another video. Today, we're visiting the Air and Space Museum.
Balboa Park.
Yep, in Balboa Park. And here's an opening shot for today. Here we are, Air and Space Museum. We're here, and already we see a bit of aerial history with this plane. You could just see U.S. Air Force around all. It's an American plane.
And there's a stealth fighter over there too.
06933 of the... I don't know what this is.
Stealth fighter, I think.
Oh wow, looks pretty stout. California.
U.S. and California flags. Of American Aviation Inc. North American Aviation Incorporated, Los Angeles Division, Columbia Division, Space and Information Systems Division, Aeronautics Division, Rocketdyne Division, Atomics International Division, proudly remembered by the retirees of North American Aviation.
Only flying replica of the famed Spirit of St. Louis, which, in 1927, I flew from New York to Paris in 33.5 hours. Did you know that the Spirit was built right here in San Diego by Ryan Aeronautical? It was a milestone in aviation, which quickly generated worldwide interest in the development of more advanced airplanes. Throughout our museum, you'll encounter aircraft which played important parts in history. Beginning in the rotunda, you'll see the original Apollo 9 capsule and a Bell X-1 replica. The orange airplane above you was flown by Chuck Yeager to break the sound barrier in 1947, just 20 years after I crossed the Atlantic. Inside, the museum is laid out in chronological order, beginning with the pioneers of flight, including Leonardo da Vinci, Lilienthal, Chanute, and of course, the Wright brothers. Next up, you'll witness actual flyable aircraft from the Great War in our remarkable World War I gallery. You'll also tour the golden age of aviation, with aircraft flown by such notable aviators as Amelia Earhart, Jimmy Doolittle, and San Diego's own T. Claude Ryan. The aircraft you'll see today are examples of technological advances made by dedicated engineers and scientists. At no time in history have these advances been more apparent than during World War II, when sophisticated propeller-driven aircraft gave way to new, improved fighter jets, changing the world forever. Your visit winds up in the modern era, where jets and space vehicles sit side by side, the greatest achievements by brilliant men and women from the aviation and space community. You'll also see the only GPS satellite on exhibit anywhere in the world, a technology we take for granted every day. And don't miss the museum's 3D, 4D theater and flight simulators, where you'll experience firsthand the thrill of flight. Enjoy your visit to the San Diego Air and Space Museum, and please come back soon.
Didn't know
That was pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, didn't know the Spirit of St. Louis was built over here in San Diego. That explains why we've dedicated an entire airport to him.
That's right.
Even Lindbergh's wearing a mask.
That's pretty cool, huh?
Yeah. John J. Montgomery, 1858 to 1911. As early as 1883, John J. Montgomery initiated a series of investigations at Otay, California, just south of San Diego, to understand the physical basis of aerodynamic lift and its generation by surfaces moving through the air. Trained in Newtonian physics, he made these investigations through hypothesis-driven research using small-scale models, various experimental devices, and manned flying machines. The result of his experiments between 1883 and 1886 at Otay led Montgomery to not only understand the importance of curved airfoils for lift, but also to develop mechanical systems for controlled flight. Montgomery was one of the first to develop a basis for aerodynamics as a science. Between 1886 and 1885, these concepts were solidified into a general theory for the circulation of flow over a wing. After moving to Northern California, Montgomery continued his aeronautical investigations. Using a wind tunnel of his own design and construction at Santa Clara College, Montgomery assisted Thomas Baldwin in the development of dirigible propellers in 1903. By 1905, Montgomery generated a new series of gliders of tandem wings and control systems derived from his experience at Otay. These gliders were launched from hot air balloons from high altitudes by daring aeronauts. In April 1905 at Santa Clara, California, aeronaut Daniel Maloney succeeded in the first public demonstration of heavier-than-air flight in the United States using a balloon-launched Montgomery tandem-wing glider. Montgomery patented this aircraft and its wing warping control system at the same time as the Wright brothers did the same. In 1911, Montgomery developed another glider based on his investigations from 1903 to 1905. This new glider, the Evergreen, the original shown hanging above, used radically new control systems whereby the pilot could both pitch and roll through the wing, not the tail. Over 50 flights were made with the glider. However, Montgomery perished on October 31st, 1911 as a result of a glider accident with this aircraft before a motor could be applied. He is remembered as a true pioneer of both the art and science of American aviation. Here I'm in a replica of the cockpit of the Spirit of St. Louis, our local famous plane, flown over there by Lucky Lindy, who's also pretty talkative, even with the mask. Indicator shows the pilot if he is right or left of heading. Rich and lean. Gasoline, miles per hour. I suppose this steers the plane. This doesn't do anything. Over here is a replica of the Evergreen Flame by that John J Montgomery. I've taken a picture of her just now. And over there is Vin.
I'm all smiling.
Vinfiz. Vinfiz? What is Vinfiz? Like, the ideal. The ideal grape drink.
Grape.
Grape drink? Is this plane sponsored?
Apparently.
I looked it up and it turns out, yes, that plane was sponsored. It's the Vinfiz Flyer, built by the Wright Company in 1911, and it was sponsored by a grape drink company called Vinfiz. That explains why it says the ideal grape drink on it. Now, let's return to the video. Zeppelin. And here we see a few models of an old helicopter, an 1817 Airship. Didn't know they had Zeppelins in 1817. Wait, it's called 1817, not from 1817. An interesting world there, aviation history is. And here we see a spaceship with foil on the bottom of it. Maybe we need another angle.
I think it's the Apollo 7 capsule, right? Is that what they said?
Yeah, it does look like a capsule. And not, the rocket that propelled it into space. And here we see a bit of a mural here of of airplane history. Wall bearing oval right. All sorts of planes, and in the exhibits all sorts of flags, including a backwards French flag. Maybe try fixing that? Other than that, the flags are all good. As is the rest of the picture. All sorts of airplane history here, and here too. We were just looking at Bob Hoover. Ancient Greece. Greek astronomer Aristarchus of Samos proposes that the Earth revolves around the Sun. His theory fails to catch on. 300 BC. Ancient Rome. Astronomer Claudius Ptolemy describes a geometric model of the universe that places Earth/humanity at its center. His theory dominates European thought for centuries. 100. Early rockets. Chinese forces employ self-propelled projectile weapons on the battlefield. Year 1000. The Americas. The Incan and Aztec cultures developed their own astronomical observatories. The Aztecs create the 365-day calendar from these observations. Year 1300. Revolution. Polish mathematician Nicolaus Copernicus contradicts the Ptolemaic universe and explains that the Earth revolves around the Sun. Year 1530. Trial of Galileo. Italian scholar Galileo Galilei is brought before the Inquisition in Rome for teaching the Copernican model of the universe. First telescope. The earliest known telescope appears in the Netherlands. Before this, astronomers mainly used their naked eyes to conduct observations. Year 1608. Laws of motion. English polymath Isaac Newton reveals his revolutionary laws of motion that established a theoretical and scientific foundation for space travel. Year 1687. Considering space. Russian theorist Konstantin Tsiolkovsky publishes the rocket equation in his description of using rockets to launch orbital spaceships. Kitty Hawk. On December 17th, the Wright brothers inaugurate the aerial age of the world's first successful flights of a powered, heavier-than-air flying machine. Year 1903. Liquid fuel. Robert Goddard launches the first liquid fuel rocket. His innovative combination of gasoline and liquid oxygen produces more efficient thrust than solid fuel rockets. Year 1926. World War II. The war changes everything in the field of rocketry. The Germans develop the world's first ballistic missile, the V-2 rocket, at a horrific cost in human life. Year 1942. Operation Paperclip. As World War II ends, U.S. forces recruit and expatriate key German scientific and technical personnel, including Werner von Braun and his expert V-2 rocket team. Year 1945. Breaking barriers. Test pilot Chuck Yeager is the first person to fly faster than the speed of sound in level flight in the Bell X-1 rocket plane. Glamorous Glennis. Year 1947. Space age begins. The Soviet satellite Sputnik 1 is launched on October 4th, becoming the first human-made object to be placed into orbit above the Earth. Year 1957. America responds. Following the Soviet launch of Sputnik the year before, Congress establishes the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, NASA. Hey! A rocket engine. Hey! A rocket engine.
A pan and you'd be done.
Who owns the moon? No one. The Outer Space Treaty of 1967 prohibits any country from owning planets, stars, or any other natural object in space. The treaty also limits the use of the moon and other celestial bodies to peaceful purposes. What kind of suit is worth more than $1 million? A spacesuit. Spacesuits can weigh as much as 180 pounds on Earth, take more than 6 hours to put on, and cost over $1 million. Spacesuits must be warmed, cooled, pressurized, and supplied with fresh air in order to keep humans safe in the harsh environment of space. Besides footprints, what else have humans left on the moon? Humans have left over 77,000 pounds of material on the moon, including golf balls from Alan Shepard, Alan Bean's silver astronaut pin, and Apollo lunar rovers. In September 2011, NASA released pictures of footprints found on the moon. What strange creatures left these footprints? The footprints were left by American astronauts from the Apollo missions almost 50 years ago, and were captured by the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter. Tracks and dust are preserved well on the windless, rainless moon. A cigarette case?
This is fancy.
Piece of spacecraft. Can I get a few Cyrillic letters? I'll be able to read it better at home. Oh yes, this famous piece of propaganda. Slava, the text at the bottom says. It says Russian for glory. O36.
Let's keep going.
It says I take a few more pictures. If you
Manfred there's the Red Baron.
Yep, Manfred von Richthofen.
There's the Red Baron.
Yep, these giant planes had faces painted onto them.
You foiled Red Baron.
Here's this scale model of a German blimp. Apparently they've managed to the Germans managed to fly flags on the back of blimps. Didn't even know that was a thing. Blimp flags. Here's our Nazi blimps, and our American ones too. Both sides of the war, that is.
Oh, the Navy had one, huh?
Yes. There's Surgical Hindenburg, and there's the American. Shenandoah. Yep, blimps on both sides of the continent, and after 1941 of the war.
First one occupied, that's better than McConaughey.
Someone's on a car holding onto a plane. I'll take a picture of his sign here. And here's a plane of, I guess it's US Airmail because of this sign here. It even has the old American roundel. Did you know, what did Wilbur and Orville Wright do before they became aviation pioneers? They worked with printing presses, bicycles, motors, and other machinery. Their work with bicycles influenced their belief that an unstable aircraft could be balanced with practice just like a bicycle. This is quite a big plane. Amelia Earhart. The Fleet Model 2, 1929.
Amelia Earhart luggage. Yeah.
It always gets lost though.
Chinese devices. Helicopter. Yeah. R-44 Raven. Are you driving it? Yeah.
Did you know, what is a contrail?
Land number 1, 9 November, Balboa.
Contrails, short for condensation trails, are basically man-made clouds. The explosion of fuel in an airplane engine creates water droplets as exhaust. At high altitudes where the air is colder, these water droplets freeze in mid-air, creating long, thin clouds across the sky. Pilots in World War II were able to use contrails to track down enemy aircraft easily.
West of runway 23, crossing field at or above 1,000.
Claire Chennault's Flying Tigers in China, 1941 to 1942. These are Americans who fought for the Republic of China from 1941 to 1942, just before the US entered World War II. Yes, Republic of China stuff. As you can see with this white sun on a blue field on a holy red earth, as this flag is called.
Oh yeah, like real thing.
Yes. Authentic, old, and still in use in Taiwan province, or just Taiwan. Douglas DC-3 Armory C-47 Navy R-4D. My mom said that this is like driving a tractor. Plenty of toggles here. And the windows are actually quite square for a vehicle of such a round front. Oh, and there's Mom over there. Hello, Mom. Some more Flying Tiger stuff. They've even devised a way to combine the US star with the Taiwanese and then Chinese star. Over the top of the world. This plane really makes the word Flying Tiger all the more literal. China, Burma, French Indochina, which is now Vietnam, and Laos and Cambodia.
Here's your favorite thing, Luftwaffe.
Some German history stuff and air weapons. Evidently this is quite a various display, but over there we've got the Royal Air Force ensign, which viewers of Sicilian Multarum would have learned yesterday. I'll see where we're going. Here. Stay for victory. Hitler will send no warning, so always carry your gas mask. Keep mum. She's not so dumb.
Oh.
What does that mean?
It means don't run your mouth with a drill.
Oh,
It'd be a spy.
I see. Britain shall not burn. Beat firebomb pricks. Firebomb pricks. Britain's fireguard is Britain's defense.
Like this music?
Yes.
Me too.
American Eagle Squadron. US flag and British flag in one. Over there we see a US flag and the British flag at once. Here we're standing on just in front of the cockpit of this old plane. This gives us some height to see that orange plane over there, this Blue Angels flyover plane, an old US Navy plane, NP. Max Flight, what looks like a flight simulator? It looks like a torpedo, maybe? A blue plane over there. Even that flight room, which includes some World War II exhibits.
Look out, kid. Modern drone.
An armored drone for use by the US Air Force. Well, I think they have another name for these drones. Unmanned aerial vehicle? How modern. Hey, and there's a bit of a crossover into other forms of transportation. There's a few trains. There's a few ships. There's a few cars. Plenty of crossovers here. Didn't even expect to see a train in here. One last look at those old TS and Japanese planes. And I realized that backwards E is actually a stylized 3. Coin drop, thank you. And they drop it into a torpedo. After looking at all the exhibits, I then looked at some of the stuff that's available at the gift shop. From Air Force One models, to postcards, to shirts that demonstrate social distancing very well. However, I ultimately decided to get a snow globe featuring a space shuttle, which you can see here right now. Seen a lot today in there. I've learned a lot of history, and I've shared a lot more with you. From Americans who fought for the Republic of China, to what a contrail is. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like on it. If you enjoyed this entire channel, subscribe to it. And if you want to know our next video will be coming out, click the bell button and please subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video.